Okay, and guys, I'm going to start screen sharing.
Okay.
Mizo, please let people in if
Sure.
I can't. Oh, you've got your drama. Okay.
No, I'm doing it from the phone. I want to see from the phone.
Let me know if you can see the screen. It says loading.
I see the screen. I see.
Fantastic. So guys, welcome to the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel, the second launch, the official public launch, which is today. So we're going to start off by talking about what the Stockpile is and getting you guys to meet the team, right? So if you've just joined, sorry, I just want to see something because this is not, I just want to make sure we have the right thing. Yep, fantastic. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna admit these people. Mizo, can you see them? I'm admitting them. So, guys, welcome to the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. We'll talk about, let me explain what the Stockpile is. We'll talk about it even more in depth. Most of us know Stockpiles from growing up. If you're South African, then you know Stockpiles from growing up in your neighborhood, hopefully through your grandmothers or your moms or aunts or whatever. But you should, most of us actually know what a Stockpile is. If you don't, a Stockpile is basically a saving scheme. For those people that didn't grow up in South Africa, a Stockpile is a saving scheme, and it is traditionally, a Stockpile is used to save for certain things. So most of us know Stockpiles for December savings, right? So in South Africa, December is a very big thing. So usually we save, what we do is we get together as a community and then we'll put money towards saving for groceries in December. So every month you put aside a certain amount of money and all the members put aside a certain amount of money, and then in December they withdraw it and buy a lot of groceries and then share those groceries amongst each other. In recent years, Stockpiles have actually become a lot more sophisticated. So we've also had, which is fine because it's not always been about food, right? They've always been sort of sophisticated. Stockpiles have been used to put children through school where usually the Stockpile can also be, you've got 8, 10, 20 members or even 60 members, and each member gives money to the first member. So the first 59 members, if it's 60 members, will give money once a month or once a week to the first member. And then that member, whatever the agreed upon amount is, will have money from 59 different people. The next week or the next month, that same member then groups together with the other 58 members to give money to the second person, and so on. Well, in recent years, this has become more sophisticated, right? So Stockpiles have been used to buy property, to take a whole community, and then you take a bunch of people in a community, you pull together money, and then you use that money to actually buy property. So the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel actually comes from this concept, right? And that's why it's creating wealth together. We're all about building a property portfolio, because if I had just a little bit of money, I could probably only buy one property, and I could probably buy one property a month, or a year, sorry, or every 2 years, right? But if we are all together, and if I just have 10,000 Rand or $1,000, I can't get much in terms of property. But if there are, say, 100 of us with 10,000 Rand, that is quite a lot of money and could probably buy us an entire property cash or building cash. Oh, I've got to stop doing that. I've got to stop letting people in. Okay, so then that means that we can actually grow our property portfolios faster, and then we all can share in buying not just one property, but multi-lets or buildings at a later date, and then start sharing that rental income and reinvesting that rental income and buying even more property. That way we actually get to own parts of a property, of the major properties faster. So what we can do in a Stockpile as a community would probably take us at least 5 to 10 years to do what a Stockpile can do in a year, right? So it's super, super powerful. So basically, if you've never heard of a Stockpile before, I want you to think of it as an investment fund. In particular, a property Stockpile is a property investment fund. It's communal members taking the little bits of money that they have to invest in properties. And of course, ownership depends. The amount of ownership that you have in the property also depends on how much of a percentage compared to the whole that you are investing into the property in terms of equity, right? So who is behind the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel? So if you've just joined and you don't know who I am, my name is Vangile Makwakwa. I'm one of the hosts of the Property Magicians podcast. This is how the Wealthy Ones Stokvel came to be. And I'll talk more about that and the history of the Property Magicians podcast and how the Stokvel then came to be through that podcast. Although I believe that many of you are here because of the podcast. So I hope you already listened to that and to the podcast episode, which is episode 101. So if you've never heard of the Property Magicians podcast, please go to iTunes, Spotify, so it's iTunes, Spotify, or what? Mizo, what am I missing? Oh, Podbean. Right? And please go on there to go and check out episode 101. We go more in depth on the Stockpile and how it came to be. So my name is Vangile Makwakwa. I will share my story later, but I wanted you guys to know who is the team behind the Stockpile. I'm the chairperson of the Stockpile, and my duties are to lead and prepare the agenda for meetings, right? It's to make sure that the rules are followed for the Stockpile, is to approve any financial members in consultation with any financial matters in consultation with any of the other Stockpile members. It's to explore opportunities for enhancing the group's practices and basically developing and implementing the Stockpile strategy. And my co-host for the Property Magicians podcast, who is also the co-founder, so we are both the co-founders of the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel, is Dr. Miranda Moloto, and she's our treasurer. So she actually decides on the profitable deals for the Stokvel. She decides how the money is going to be used, and she looks after the funds, right? So she's responsible for keeping an accurate account of all the group's finances, including preparing an income and expenditure report. She manages the process of collection of contributions from Stockpile members and distributing disbursements to qualifying members. So she'll be with us in the spreadsheet. She's the one that will approve that, yes, everything is on point, what the return on investment is. She'll be taking care of that. And both of us, as well as our secretary, have to sign off on everything. So I never get to sign on anything on my own. That's also how the bank account is set up. So both Mizo and I have to sign up on everything. I call her Mizo, but it's Dr. Miranda, right? Okay, so then our secretary is Wisani Shibambu, and she keeps an accurate record of the group's activities, minutes, correspondence, and membership register. So she's usually the person that reaches out to you guys. If you've just joined the Stockpile, most of you, she's probably reached out already and welcomed you via WhatsApp to the Stockpile and asked you for your email details and probably reminded you to sign up for the WhatsApp group, right? So she also sends out most of our emails. I've been the one responsible for the Stockpile emails now, and I've kind of like made a bit of a boo-boo with it. So if you haven't received your emails and I've had to go on the WhatsApp group to get your details. Don't worry, I got you. I've got your email details. I'm going to set that out. But usually Sunny will be taking care of that and takes care of that, right? She also has the signing powers together with Mizo and I on Stockpile. So whenever we're taking out money to invest on Stockpile, there's these two, all three of us have to agree that the money is going out, and then we have to report to Stockpile as well. If you don't know what Stockpile is, don't worry, we'll talk about Stockpile and the Stockpile app, right? And then she also sets up meetings with people and usually with the investors in whose deals we're investing in, right? So what we're going to be talking about today, just so that you are well aware and we don't take up too much time, is we'll talk about our stories, we'll talk about the vision for the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel, we'll talk about how the Stockpile works, how to join on the Stockpile app. I did send out an email, so I'm hoping that this will be a really fast and easy explanation, no longer than like 1 minute really. So if you haven't received that email, please feel free to let us know, hit reply in emails, or just join the WhatsApp group and let us know, right? And how to join the Stockpile if you're based outside of Southern Africa, because Stockpile only works with 4 Southern African countries at the moment. They're still growing, but it's a process, right? They a work in progress as well. And then we'll be talking about the deal that we're going to invest in, how it works and what it is, and we'll be answering your questions. Okay, so how did okay, I have to move this and just admit people so that I can see my screen. Okay, so the background to the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. Yes?
I will admit them. Does it allow me? Have you made me host?
Yes.
Okay.
It should allow you.
Yeah,
but
I
if
keep
there's
admitting others, so you continue so that I can get the admission.
No, I just admitted this one person because the notification was clouding the slides.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so okay, quick background on the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. So as I mentioned, Mizo and I have been running the Property Magicians podcast. This podcast started 2 years ago, and we call it an A to Z guide to investing in real estate. We've had over 100 episodes. We are now on episode 102. So we've been very, very consistent with this podcast. And after a while, we were like, okay, what do we want to do with this podcast? How do we want to have this podcast grow, right? So we then decided that we're going to start the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. Well, it was more like in June, I woke up with the epiphany. Mizo also had this epiphany that we actually are busy working on our own projects, but we want to invest in property. The only problem is in terms of time, right? To make really good property investments, you need to have the time to do deal sourcing, which is going to find really good deals. Then you have to sit down and crunch the numbers. Then there's also the element of managing your properties, right? Getting the right tenants, managing properties. If you're going to be renovating properties, if you're buying properties under market value, sometimes you have to renovate them so that you can increase the market value, right? And then get them to market value or just a little bit above market value, and then be able to refinance them to get the next property. So we sat down and we're like, this is a lot of work. Can we honestly say that we're going to be able to run the podcast, do our businesses? And Mizo also has part-time work, right? Or full-time work, I don't know. And so it's just, then there's all these other things in life, and she's also a mom, I'm busy traveling, all the stuff. So we're like, the best thing, and also I have this thing where I don't want to buy properties using bank money, right, and debt. So we're like, what if we actually start a Stockpile? And we agreed to grow this property. We agreed to grow this property Stockpile to 250 million Rand in assets, which is about $17 million in property assets over within
Then you've disappeared. Hey, Vangile. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's going on with Van. HT. I'm gonna
put the recording on.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's go to slideshow. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so so then we decided the best way to approach property investing for us would be with the collective. Are you guys still there? Hello?
I hear you're not sharing your slides anymore.
Okay, now I'm like paranoid. Sorry. Okay, so we decided that we're going to start investing in property using the Stockpile. Okay, just making sure that I am doing this and screen sharing. So just sharing again. Okay. And slide share. There we go. Yeah, so we decided that we're going to create the Stockpile because of the collective power, right? And if we hold a collective intention and use Mizo's connections in sourcing deals and my ability to do tech and processes and everything together, we've seen what we can do with this, with the podcast after 102 episodes, and we knew what each other's strengths are. We know what each other's strengths are, right? So we figured that there are other people that want to get into property and can't, and feel like they can't, either because they've been burned, they've made some bad investments, right, in property before because they didn't know how to do the numbers, or they just don't have the time to find deals, or they just don't qualify in terms of credit, or some people are just like me and they just don't feel like having to deal with a huge amount of entrepreneurial debt or property debt, because they just don't feel ready to take on that debt until they know a little bit more about property, right? So this is how the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel comes into being, right? So then we hired Slindile, who is in episode 7, I believe, of the Property Magicians podcast, and she helps people launch Stockpiles. So she's been working with us and she's been putting everything together with us, and she's been just guiding us on how to do the Stockpile, what are the like compliance issues that we need to be aware of, how to manage everything in terms of the back end, which has been super, super helpful, right? And the name Wealthy Ones actually comes from the Money Magic course. So Wealthy Money runs Academy, and I have a course called Creating Money Magic, right? Within that course, Wisani, who's our secretary, started calling all of us Wealthy Ones. This was a few years ago, right? And we really, really loved that name and how it made us feel, because we really felt like we start to think like we are wealthy because we're being called Wealthy Ones, right? And so this is how the name Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel comes to be. It has a lot of significance for us, and we've also seen through just being in the Money Magic course what it's like when a group of people hold a collective intention together. So this is both very much energetic thing to make the decision to go into property, not just on our own, but as a collective with other people who share a similar vision. Because as they say in the proverb, one of our favorite proverbs that we use is the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? So we really want to use the power of the collective. So my story is quite simple. I am not sure why. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't put text on this. Okay. So my story, quite simple, right? So I came to do this work because I was having panic attacks around money, right? So I did I have a finance honors degree from UCT. I also have an MBA from the Simmons School of Management. The minute I finished with my MBA program, I started having money, spend money, basically do anything with money, right? So then I started on this journey for the last 10 years. I've been working around money trauma. My first thing was, how do I pay off $60,000 in debt, right? So I started doing a lot of work around money trauma to get out of debt. At the time, that was 700,000 Rand, but most of my debt was denominated in US dollars and pounds. And so I actually moved back to South Africa to pay off this debt. So I was earning in rands and paying off the debt in dollars and pounds. And actually it took 4 years to pay off the debt. And I then wrote my book, Hard Mind and Money. During that whole process, it did really well, which is how Wealthy Money started. So once I became debt-free, I used to think that, ooh, having no debt and saving is how I'm going to make money, right? Obviously, if you have no debt, you don't owe any human soul and you're saving money, whatever you're making, you're saving. In my head at the time, that meant financial freedom. But in 2015, at the beginning of 2015, I entered 2015 being debt-free, being someone who was earning money. And I realized that actually that didn't equate to financial freedom. So that then started the next part of my journey with Wealthy Money, where I started teaching about increasing income and then how do you create passive income and building wealth, which is how then we were led to starting the Property Magicians podcast, because I had this realization that it's not enough to just be debt free. It's not enough to save money. Saving money was never going to be wealthy, right? And was never going to build wealth for me. But it's great that I have money and I don't owe people any money at month end, right? Like I no longer have that month end story. But then how do you ensure that your children and your family don't now have money as well? So this is why we are here today, right? Because I'm sure most of us are starting to think in terms of those, in that kind of vein of how do we build generational wealth? How, even though I've paid off my debts, once I become debt free, how do I get to just live life and go chill out somewhere on a beach and be able to make money even when I'm in my 40s or my 50s, right? Or like even later. So how do you get to then just retire early? Which is the big question, right? And for us, we've decided that property is the way. And we feel that even with very, very little money, you can get into property, which is why the Stockpile exists, right? So the mission of the Stockpile is quite simple. It's for us to seek profitable property investment opportunities and to create and preserve generational wealth and to also share this wealth. Again, this is why we're doing it as a collective, right? So that the more we grow, others grow with us, right? And it's also such a simple way to get into investing and into property, because it's not like we have to explain what stockpiles are to our families. We can always just say, oh, it's a stockpile. Come join. For most of us in South Africa, obviously, if you're outside of South Africa and your family has never heard this, you have to do some explanation. But for most of us, it's such an easy thing. It's like anyone, even in the village, can understand how this will build wealth and what a stockpile is, because it's part of our heritage in a way, right? And so, and we also believe very much in property investment education. So as we go through, as you guys will be investing with us through the Stockpile, we're going to keep having such classes. We'll be explaining the deals. Like today, Mizo is going to explain the deal, the BRRRR concept, how what the Kuro investment deal is, how we'll be making money from that, right? So you guys will be learning as we learn and grow and become better investors. Our vision, like I said, is to have 250 million Rand or 17 million US dollars in assets in 5 years. Eventually, after 2 years, what we're looking at right now, we're starting off by giving funding to other property developers and other investors who need money. And then we're basically becoming their bank. we're funding them. But after 2 years, we believe that we will have started to get a lot more information. And what we're going to start doing is going into deals directly with property developers and investors and saying, okay, now we have the money, let us co-own the properties, right? So it's all about co-ownership as well. And we're hoping that you guys will keep investing every month with us and reinvest the money, and that we'll all keep reinvesting the money until we get to the point where the Stockpile then becomes a company, becomes a trust, and then we start owning actual physical assets, because assets is where the money, the wealth is created, right? Because once you have the physical assets, the assets are generating an income, and then most of the time for us, we'll be going into deals where the investors and property developers are already established. They're the ones, they come with the knowledge, they come with everything, we come with the money, and we'll be learning through those deals as a collective, right? But we'll be owning these buildings, and we'll be able to share in rental income over time. And this is how we then create passive income. That rental income is passive income because usually the property developers and the investors, the property developers that we'll be teaming up with, they are going to be managing the properties. They already have a system. They know how to get the tenants. They have all these things, and what they need is money. So if we have the money, we can then be part of the deals, and it gives us a lot of say. That way we don't have to come in as just 10% equity holders. We can come in as like 49% or 50% equity holders, right? Okay. So how does the Stockpile work? You can make a once-off payment, or we can make monthly contributions, right? Monthly contributions start at 1,000 Rand or $100 a month. You can contribute as much as you want, right? There is no limit as to how much you can contribute. There is a 6-month waiting period before you see your return on investment, right? So just be aware of that, that most deals for us to start receiving that passive income will take about 6 months, right? So we want to be very realistic. If we do get a deal like the Kuro deal that's saying that it's paying out anywhere between 3 months to 6 months, great, then you guys will get your money then. But most deals will be on a per annum basis. It's all on a deal by deal basis. So do expect to wait 6 months at least to get your return on investment. And again, it depends on the deal. The deal that we did before, Lebogang wanted us to wait 12 months, right? So you in 12 months you'll pay out everything, right? So and if you've invested 10,000 Rand, right? And the reason for this, the 10,000 Rand or the $700 investment before you receive returns, is because Stockfella, the app, actually has some fees attached to it. So in order to lessen the fees for our investors and also for ourselves, we recommend that you have at least 10,000 Rand invested, so that when you get your ROI, the fees that Stockfella charges don't eat into your return on investment, right? So we will be looking for investments that are a minimum of 10.5% per annum. But the deal that we have with Lebogang is a 15% ROI, and the deal that we have right now with Kuro also has a 15% ROI. We'll be looking at deals at least over the next 2 years, in year 3, I guess, at the beginning of year 3, at the end of year 2, where we'll be able to co-own, and we have fractional ownership with the investors. So that means that we co-own the building or the property, right? And our aim is to always collaborate with developers and other investors, mainly because we feel that there's so many people that are so great at what they do. And part of why we started the Stockpile, in all honesty, is so that we could learn from others, because we realize that we're running our own companies, we're running the stock, or we're running the podcast. We don't have that much time. So we'd rather team up with people who have the time, who have the knowledge, who have been doing this, and who will do the building element, the entire development element so much better than we can, right? That is always the aim. Okay, and of course, I don't know why we said loan money to other real estate agents. We meant loan money to other real estate developers and real estate investors. So that is our aim. At least the loaning of money is our focus for the next 2 years, right? So up until, I guess, October 2023, that is going to be our focus. We're going to be the banks for developers. And although we're saying we're looking for a minimum of 10.5 ROI, we're always going to try and get you guys way more, right? We're always going to be looking for that. But if, let's say, there's a dry period in the real estate market, you can always expect the 10.5 ROI. The current deal is 15% ROI in 3 months, but in the video that we're going to show you, Matt does say it's while Mizo and Matt talk about 15% ROI over 3 to 6 months, and Matt is the one that says it's 3 to 6 months. So how you contribute, we'll talk more about this later, but you use the Stockpile app. They have 4 countries in Southern Africa, which is South Africa, Lesotho, Namibia, and Swaziland, right? Other countries can pay into the Stockpile bank account, and we will update you every month of the monthly performance of the Stockpile. And over to Mizo now. I'm going to stop my screen sharing and let her take over and share her story.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to put my video on quickly. Hi there, Lolo. Hi, Matidiso. Hello, Trifina. Can you see me now? Why am I not seeing myself?
Yes, we can, Mizo.
Okay, cool. I am so happy to be here and happy to see faces that I don't know. Yeah, for a change. We are so used to our wealthy ones. Let's see if it works. So Van has explained how it all works on Stockpile, and how you join with 1,000, and our commitment to you is to only find deals that are minimum of 10%, 10.5 return or interest that we're gonna get you. So let me tell you a little about myself and why I think real estate works. I am gonna reintroduce myself. Thank you, Van, for doing this. I am Dr. Miranda. I am Prop Doc Mom on all the platforms. On Instagram, I'm Dr. Miranda _ Prop Doc Mom. I'm a property investor, I'm a medical doctor, and I'm a mom. And I am very committed to professionals and to talking to professionals about why real estate makes sense. So when you are in your high-end paying job or your job, whatever it is, you can actually build another job alongside where you can start earning passive income. And it feels like you have got 2 jobs and you are still making money without doing anything. So at Prop Doc Mom, I own a 16-week mentorship program where I teach beginners how to start an investment journey and how to start, and as I said, with professionals, how to start an investment journey without leaving the job, because that payslip is actually your launch pad for your property investment. Don't leave it, right? So at the 16-week beginner mentorship, what I do is I do one-on-one group sessions, you get worksheets, and you get introduced to strategies of how to invest in property, because there are many strategies. We're going to go through them now, and what's the best way of financing your journey. So yeah, if you are interested in being mentored, so let me know. Let me tell you a bit about my story. You know now about Vangile, my co-host who started Wealthy Money. I am, how my story begins is that I qualified in Medunsa, what is now called Sefako Makhat. health university or medical university, right? And I think my dissatisfaction, I keep telling Bangile when we do the podcast, my dissatisfaction about being a medical doctor is that everyone expects that, or they think we have money and we are supposed to be walking around loaded. And let me tell you the fallacy of that, especially in the Black community, is that you graduate from medical school with 0 cents. But what happens, lo and behold, I'm in the medical school. The first thing that I was introduced to that has anything to do with money, you will see how we get launched into things that don't matter and that don't build wealth. While we are in the medical school, in my 5th year of medical school, we are visited by one of the insurance groups that offer products for professionals. And we were offered an insurance product. It was a life cover and a disability cover. They pay it for us in our 6th year. That means the 12 months of the last year of study, they pay it up. On the 3rd of January, they're not kidding. 3rd of January, there is a consultant at your door to say, you know that on the 31st of January, you need to start paying Dr. Miranda. So you start paying for a product that you don't even understand, disability cover and permanent incapacity and death cover. Such a dissatisfaction for me, because money doesn't start with just defense. And Vanille teaches about this all the time. When you start your money story or your wealth journey with defense and the fear that you're going to die or become incapacitated, you can imagine the tone that it sets, right? So you are not starting with wealth, you are not starting with savings, you're not starting with how are you going to get to buy that car that you want. Somebody is selling you already a death cover. That is my worst product. I really, really don't like death cover products. Anyhow, 2 months into my housemanship, I am doing my housemanship at Helen Joseph. And the first invite I get invited to, again, it is about money, but it is not about making me wealthy. No one is teaching me about savings. We get invited by Audi and Volkswagen. We are going to do a breakfast run, they call it. So we started at Northcliffe. We are driving down Malibongwe Drive. For those who are in Johannesburg, they know which road I'm talking about. We are going towards Hartebeespoort Dam, and we get into these flashy cars. Of course, I'm 22 years of age. A flashy car like a GTI, at the time it was the big bumper Golf 2, and there was an A6, and there was, I can't remember what it was, but VR6 Golf, and whatever. We are driving down the Malibongwe Drive. We are being taken to breakfast at Hartebeespoort Dam. This is month number 2, guys. Note, month number 2, how much am I earning? I qualified a long time ago before the new dispensation, just as we were about to get to the first democratic elections in 1994. That's when I'm doing my housemanship. And my salary at the time, we had 4 salary groups. We had a salary for white men, salary for white women, salary for Indians, and then a salary for a Black male doctor, and a salary for a Black female doctor. So my salary is 1,218. I am not kidding you, but they are trying to sell me a VR6 Golf, right? Whose installment probably at the time was like 4,000 per month. By the time we come back at midday or lunchtime around there are housemen, young doctors that have signed deals with this dealership, and they are buying your VR6, and they are buying your GTI Golf, and they are buying whatever else it was. And they didn't put in the GTS, the lower class of the cars. No, they gave us the high-end cars. Now you are signing this deal. You are getting into a debt that is higher than what you are earning. I don't know how you're going to do this car. I was fortunate at the time that my head was like, I can't make sense of how am I going to pay for a car for 4,000. This is 2 months into my housemanship. And from then on, it just went downwards, guys. Nothing that Black people are taught talks about how they are going to build wealth. In the doctor's rooms, when we have our coffee, what you would find pamphlets from the green company, blue company, aqua company, yellow company. All of them are selling financial products. And all the financial products are speaking about death cover, incapacity cover, or maybe if you are lucky, there's an endowment policy there, but no one is teaching you how to save, how to grow your money, how to start a clever system of how you're going to earn passive money, how you're going to augment your salary, and how you are ultimately going to be financially free. I feel like as a Black person, there were so many opportunities where so many people had a touch in with me where they could have taught me about money. So I attended my first financial fitness course when I had a practice in Soweto. And that was the first time that someone showed me that you've got to have emergency savings. You've got to play defense. Yes, you can have products that play defense in case you accidentally die or accidentally become disabled. But you've got to also have a pot of wealth building. But for me, the story changed more drastically when I turned 40 because I had my first and only child at the age of 40. I suddenly have this high-end job where I spend 12 hours at work. Sometimes I'm out the house at 6 o'clock, I'm back at 7 p.m. I am working at Sasol, but I've got a little baby. How do I divide my time to, when do I devote my time to bringing up this precious child that I have? And I want to give her a certain type of education, but I also want to be mom, right? I want to be able to work 5 hours and still be home before the sun sets and see my baby. And I was just not financially free, right? I do not have the capacity to leave my job and not to work for 12 hours because I'm still earning and fighting the battles of subsistence, putting petrol in the car, buying nappies, paying for crash, paying the nanny, and still living a lifestyle. So, and for me, I feel like our Black nation we've always known how to build wealth, but we never actually build wealth because everyone else sells us products that don't make sense, sell us the shiny stuff, and they sell us a dream when they sell us all these small little fragmented endowment policies that don't make sense. And no one has asked you, what are you looking for? What am I looking for? I'm looking for a private education for my child. I'm looking for 2 international trips per year. I am looking to work 4 hours, 3 times a week, only if I want to. How do I get there? But even if you tell financial advisors, they give you products that they are interested in. And this is how, for me, the Property Magicians podcast came about. This is how, for me, the Stockpile came about. So I started my property journey about 7 years ago, and I started with an oops mistake. What did I do? I bought my first property, and it was never cash flowing until I sold it 3 years later, somewhere in 2018 or 2019. And why did that happen? Because there are not enough property education mechanisms where people are talking about property, where I could understand someone is talking to a Black female who's never bought property for investment. That's what happens. You get just about anybody, they sell you whatever they are interested in, and it turns out the apartment was never going to cash flow until year 4. This is how we get to the podcast, Bangile and I. What has happened there? Yes. So what I want to tell you is that 90% of the world's richest people invest in property. The basis of their wealth starts from property. But property is many things. Don't worry about whether they own buildings, they own shopping malls, they own groups of offices, or they own townhouses. The issue is that The basis of their wealth starts from property, whether it is on the share stock market, they are buying a share that deals with property, or whether they own properties. And I'm going to tell you why we love property. We love property for 4 reasons. With property, I can be Dr. Mom, and I am sitting in my lounge, in my study right now, and I can still earn passive income. I don't have to do anything. There's growth potential. I don't have to be going anywhere. I don't have to touch and feel. I don't have to do nothing. Jack, I am here, but I've sent my money, my extra money. I send it out and let it go and work. Bangile has just spoken about the fractional ownership deal that we did last month in October, or 2 months ago. We have sent our money out. We just put money in the Stockvel. We sent it out. It's going to come back in 12 months' time, and we will have earned 12%, 15% on top of what we have put in with other people. All right. So that's passive income for you. You don't have to do anything. With property, you control the growth. You control how much you want to earn. Literally, guys, literally. I'm going to show you with the deal that we are doing right now. So if I buy a property and I decide that I am going to buy a property that is normally worth 600,000, but I get there and I negotiate hard with the seller and I end up buying it at 450,000. I've already put appreciation and equity on that house. I can buy it from the seller at 450,000 today. Tomorrow, I sell it to the next person at 600,000 and they buy it and I make a profit of 150,000. Literally, that's how property works. You need to negotiate hard. You need to know how to buy. You need to know where to buy. You can force appreciate a home as well. What you do is you buy a house that's dilapidated, you fix it up, and by the time you fix it up, you have taken it from 600,000 to 800,000. You sell it at 800,000, you make your profit. So that's what we like about property. You almost manipulate how much you want to earn. And property is a tangible asset. You can touch and feel it. When somebody owes me money, who has got a house, I can file so that it can be sold, so that my money can come out of there. And it's stable. In most markets, houses are stable and it grows steadily. It's not a quick cash. It's not an ATM. It's not your cryptocurrency. It's not your shares that sort up and down. No, property is a steady asset class that you need to have in your stable. And please underline this. I am not saying to you now, stop doing everything that you are doing. I'm saying it's one of the asset classes that you need to have as a growth builder, right? The nice thing about property that I like most, I work a job, and because of the profession that I'm in and the position that I'm in, I pay 42.8% tax on my salary, right? And I'm probably taxed like most tax person in the country, right? So, but when I buy a property, what's nice is that I can determine how much I pay SARS by the way I spend the money. Firstly, I buy the properties in a company. Secondly, the company pays me a salary after it has paid all the expenses of that property. The electricity bill, City of Joburg, the accountant that does my books, the gardener that keeps the property clean. By the end of the rental income that is spent there, then I only pay tax on the amount that is at the bottom after I have paid all those things. It's unlike in a salary where you pay as you earn. If you are earning 50,000, 42,000 of it, 42% of it goes to SARS, and then whatever is left, 27,000 or 28,000, that's your money. In property, when you have earned, there are things called tax deductibles. That's why we love property. That's why I'm in property. So I told you that actively, day to day, I wake up, I go, I'm a health manager at a compensation fund. So that's my active job. That's my active earning. If I'm not at work, then I don't get paid. If I don't put in a leave day, then I don't get paid. If I do something silly and I get fired, my active income stops, right? So you've got limitation when you have got income, when you are earning your income that way. Okay. So what do? We create passive income. You can earn while you sleep. You don't exchange time for your earnings. Your earning potential is unlimited because you can take your money, put it in Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel today. Tomorrow, you can be putting your money at B's house with the fractional ownership that we got involved in. You can send your money in all sorts of directions. You don't have to be standing at a street corner selling anything. That's how passive income is created. All righty. Now, let's talk about how a professional can earn some money without going and doing anything. In property, we talk about something called a triangle of investing. That means one person may have a deal. Another person may have time and skill to work on that deal, on that house, to refurbish it, to find tenants, to collect the rent, and all sorts of things. And then there's a third person or the third point of the triangle. All these things require money. Somebody may have the money. This is why Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel was born, because in the triad of property investing, somebody is sitting with a deal, is sitting on a house. They don't know how they are going to refurbish it because they don't have the money. They do not have the capacity to go to the bank and borrow the money and sign 7 forms, assets and liabilities, and another form, and sign here, guarantors and whatever. So what do? They look for money, what is called equity. They look for somebody like ourselves, Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel, and they say, can you borrow me 1 million? Can we sign here? I borrow it today. This is when I'm going to refurbish. This is when I'm going to finish. This is when I'm going to give you your money. We sign on the paper, finish. They do exactly that, and we get our money back. So in property circles, if you are in a property network, you learn that this is how deals are made. So in the property, when you don't invest in property and you are not in a network, you will not have seen how things happen. But people use other people's money. And who is other people's money? That's us, Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. We create the equity, we create the cash, so that the developer who's looking for money comes to us and we say, we want so much from you. He says, I can only give you 10% interest. We're like, no, our members are not satisfied with that. If you give us an attractive sum, we will get you your R1 million and we give it to you, and you go and do whatever you need to do. And when we sign those contracts, guys, what is important? We don't do gentlemen's agreements over coffee. No, I know you, you are a nice person, you smile. No, we sign proper contracts. What happens when that deal falls through? What happens when you do not pay us on time? Can we start adding interest from day 7 when you haven't paid us on the day that you said you are going to pay us? So those things are in our contract. We have had our legal team draw up a contract that we give to anybody that we borrow equity to. What's nice about this is that the money that I earn at work, when there's change that I want to invest, I invest in these deals. I do not have to touch concrete. I don't like it. I don't have to deal with contractors. I don't like it. I don't have to deal with a Mandlovu who doesn't want to pay the rent, nothing. So that's how I create passive income, and it earns a higher interest than keeping my money in a savings account. Savings accounts right now, how much are they paying? 3.6%. Even our beloved Capitec is not getting to 5%. But in our property Stockvel, we attract deals that give us an interest of 15%. You don't get it anywhere. Money market accounts don't give you that either. All righty. Oh, okay, so this is just in summary. So when people say they want to get into property, some people will say, oh, I want to get into property. I don't know what they mean when they say they want to get into property. Property has got many, many strategies. Over here, I've only listed about 15 strategies, 15 strategies. But when you are into property, you haven't done anything. We don't know what into property is. When you get into property, you need to have a strategy and stick with it. You can't say, Vangile is doing student accommodation. Now we are in. Tomorrow, somebody's doing flipping. There you are in there. Somebody's buying townhouses in Midrand. Now corner. You need to pick one or two strategies, stick with them, and that's how you direct how your real estate business is going to go, and that's how you make money. So I've listed here 15 strategies because I just want to show you that there are deals that we may do that may involve one or two or three of these. What have we done so far? We have, in the second box, we have done a fractional ownership, option 1, with Biz House, with a company called Biz House. Our first deal that we did, we collected about 331,000, and we have invested in a fractional ownership. This guy is building units. He's building bachelor units in a township called Villa Lisa in Boksburg, and he is going to be finished, I think, in March or April. It doesn't matter really when he finishes. Our deal is we've signed over our money on the 10th of October, 15th of October, 2022. We want our capital with 15% on top. So he's gonna build and finish. He's gonna tenant, he's gonna collect his rent, and he's probably going to refinance with the bank, and that's how we are going to get paid. We provided him equity. He needed about 3 million rents. We were the last entrants. Other people gave him 500,000, 300,000. We gave him our 331,000. How sweet is that deal? 15% interest on top. Okay. So in this first box here, I'm gonna tell you a story about flipping. That's the deal we are raising funds for. But as I've said to you, next year, let's say in January, after we have financed this one and given equity over to this one, we may get into a student accommodation, we may get into a commercial property deal. I am looking at a land deal as well, and a flexi office deal. I'm looking at 3 deals, possible deals that we are bringing in 2022. So I'm the deal maker here, and I get all sorts of deals that come across my table, and that's how you know. So of the 15 strategies, today we are going to do strategy number 2, and we are going to show you how that works. Let me see. Oh, let's talk about the next deal. Then, do you want to play what we've got, or?
Yes. Do you want me to share the video?
Please share the video, and then I'm going to show you something else. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. There we go. Let me know. Do you see the video? Do you see a face on
Oh,
the
I see myself. Yeah.
Okay, you might have to mute so people can hear you. Oops.
Yeah. Wait a second. I see something on the map. Huh? The germ monster is getting the tooth fairy. I need to hurry.
Here's a giant toothbrush.
Bye. Hi, giant toothpaste.
Hey, Van, there's no sound. What's going on?
Sorry, I'm muted. Oh, crap. Okay, let me know if you hear it. Mizo, can you hear yourself?
Yeah, now I can hear something.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I had no clue I had muted myself. I'm like in tech things today. Guys, can we just share this? Mizo?
Yeah, let me take you through what the video is about.
As a YouTube video to people, because people are saying that they can't hear.
Yeah, we can't hear it. So the person you are looking at is Matt. Matt is the co-founder of Kuro Group, and stop sharing. I'm gonna share something else with you. So Matt is the co-founder of Kuro Group. I know him from SAPI, the South African Property Investor Network. Yeah, start my video. All right. So Matt is the co-founder of the Kuro Group. He was a runner-up in the beginner of the year investors group in 2019. And their company is a flipping company. We call it flipping. So I want to show you what flipping looks like. What is it that they do? I want to see if I've got the right link. So What they have done is they have found a house in Berario in Randburg, and they have bought it below market. And what they are doing with that house is they've got 2 phases that they are going to be doing. They are doing phase 1. It is in a state because it was bought from a guy who is distressed. And what they are going to be doing with the house is that they are going to flip the house. And flipping, what flipping is want to share this. Here you go. Please let me know on the chat if you can see my photo and what I'm trying to share with you. Here is a house that they bought. They bought it 55% less. So Berario is next to Northcliffe, and the houses they sell for between 1.8 to 2.5 million rents, but they bought this one for R1 million because this was a business owner who has gone under. He hasn't had time to refurbish his house, so they got it for a song, literally 1 million for a house that can be sold for 2 million rand. It is in a state from bathroom to toilets to whatever. It is in a bad state, so they were able to negotiate down. What are they going to do with the house? They are going to do the flipping strategy, or it is called the BRRRR strategy. They have bought the house, they are going to refurbish the house, and they are going to cut it up into units, family units, and then they are going to rent it out. And once it is nice and clean and it is rented out, they are going to get the bank to come and reevaluate it, and they are going to refinance and take out some money out of that house, because at that time, by the time they refurbish, it will be, the value will have gone up to 1.8 to 2 million. And then when they refinance the house, that's when they are going to pay us, the investors, out, right? So we are going to borrow them money. So this is what they are looking for. They are looking for 1.4 million rand to refurbish the house. So I'm going to take you on a 3D tour of this house. I have had the pleasure of walking through the house, but you can only do a 3D tour on here. So the video that I took while I was on site with Matt when we went to go and discuss the deal is about this house. So this is our number 50 at Blanca Avenue in Berario. So I'm going to show you a few of the rooms. This is inside the house. This is how it was looking, because the owner was running a business from the house as well. That is the nice thing about property. You can do all sorts of things with your property. It can be a residence, it can be an Airbnb, and it can be an office at the same time. Look at that. And when your house is falling apart like that, when I'm an investor, I walk in, I offer you what I see. When you rubbish the house, then I'm going to pay rubbish price for it. So Matt and his partner have bought this house, and they are going to refurbish. By the end of it, they will get the 1.5 million, 1.4 million, probably more after it. So the guy has gone under and he needed to get out of debt, so he has sold the house. So basically, guys, what happens with the Stockpile is that we do not own this house. It is owned by Kuro, but Kuro do not have the time and the money or the ability to go to the bank and go and borrow 1.4 million. And on the video, the owner of Kuro, what we were discussing is that so far, between 2019 and today, 2021, they have done 15 of the same kind of deal. That's what they do. Flipping is their business. You and I, do we know how to flip houses? We don't. This is the state of the swimming pool, as you can see, in a horrible, horrible state. This is a 2,000 square meter plot, which has got a house and 2 cottages, and it has never been maintained. So that's what the house looks like. So what are we providing? We are providing only equity, only money. We are not co-owners. Those are the cottages at the back. That's cottage number 1. It's got 2 bedrooms, and then cottage number 2 on your left as you are viewing there. So they are going to polish up this thing, and then they are going to rent it out to several people. So it's going to be a multi-let property at the end. And as they collect rent and they get some money out from the bank, that's how you and I, when you join us in the Wealthy Ones Stokvel, we are gonna get paid. So that is the deal we have on the table. So I want to go back to my slides, Vangile. Did I handle everything that I wanted to handle? That's the deal that we have. So then you are going to do the Stockfeller bit, because me and Stockfeller, we don't know how to talk. Where's Vangile?
Awesome, guys. Mizo missed one slide. Mizo, do you mind if I go through it?
Wait, which one is it?
The details of the deal. Do you see it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let
Do
me
you
go
want to
through the
walk us
details.
through it? I'll
Yeah.
keep quiet.
So, so the deal, as I showed you, please go back. Yeah. So the deal, as I showed you, they need 1.4 million. Vangile and I, we have set an intention that we are going to raise 1 million, because we know how Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel works. 5 weeks. It took us 5 weeks to raise 300,000 for the previous deal. We are so intent that people who are on here and your families, you are going to help us to raise the 1 million. The minimum investment that you can put in there as a person or as an organization, let's say Wealthy Ones today, if we were to put in 20,000, we would still participate in the deal. That's the minimum you need, but we want to go in with much more. We are going to fundraise until the 6th of January, because Matt and his partner have contracted with their contractor to begin work on the 10th of January. And it's going to take them 10 weeks to refurbish, to do the phase 1 of refurbishing and making sure that there are units that are ready for rental. And what they have promised us is 15% on whatever money we put down. So they are going to refurbish for 10 weeks. We're going to give them a grace of another 10 days so that they get our money back. And that's how the deal is structured. So remember, somebody has a deal, that's Kuro. Somebody has the time, that's Kuro. Somebody has the expertise of refurbishing, that's Kuro. They have got an agent that does looking for tenants, tenanting, signing the lease, collecting the rent, that's Kuro. Remember the triad I talked about. Somebody has the time, the deal, and the energy to flip a deal. Who are we? We are the money makers. We just bring our money. So what you are doing when you contribute, you are bringing your money to come and work. We have found a deal. You don't have to lift a finger except to press on Stockfeller and transfer money, and the deal is done. 12 weeks later, you get your money with 15%. That's how the deal is going to work. Then next slide is yours.
Awesome. So I've had to come up with the second thing, because I was going to play you guys a YouTube video. We've realized that videos are epic fails, right? So I'm actually going to walk you guys through Stockfeller, so you can actually get to see where we are in terms of our fundraising right now. We've crossed the 50,000 Rand mark.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. So guys, since we paid the 300,000 Rand to Lebogang, right? Because we do charge 1,000 Rand joining fee, and people wanted to know what that joining fee is being used for. Well, it's being used to pay us to get the word out there with advertising, etc. And it's also being used to pay us a little stipend. And it's also being used, so the 1,000 Rand joining fee is also being used to pay Wisani, right? Because Wisani is actually having to do stuff. There's a lot of admin stuff. I think you guys already have experienced me on the admin end, and we can all agree that me sending out emails and doing things, that is not my strong point, right? We tried. But now we know why Wisani is here. Like you guys have had like a real time experience. So how do you join the Stockpile? Right. So if you're based in 4 countries, like I said, in South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, and Swaziland, please use the Stockpile app. It makes everything easier. So you can go, you pay money into Stockpile. We then take the money out, it sits in Stockpile. And once we have decided on January 6th to pay Matt, you'll be able to actually see and receive a message from Stockpile saying, hey, the money is now being withdrawn, right? And it's being sent to the developer. We will keep you updated on this every step of the way, but with Stockpile, you're able to see how much any member puts in. So think of it as like a communal bank account. So if you have issues with people seeing how much you're putting in and investing, now's the time to just take a deep breath and jump right in. It's beautiful for transparency purposes, right? Especially if you're an investor and you're going into these deals, you're able to see if anyone is messing with your money, what's going on in the Stockpile. You're able to see who's invested what, when, right? So Stockpile is just perfect because, I mean, which investor wouldn't like that, that kind of transparency? So to download Stockpile, you go to Google Play or iTunes. I'm with, I've got Huawei, you know, and they have their own little thing, and they actually come up on their Petal Search app as well. So Stockpile is available on all platforms. I can truly say that. And just click on sign up and log in and search for Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel, then request to be a member. We will approve you, and then let me walk you through how you make a payment on Stockpile, right? So Stockpile looks like this. Remember how I said everything is going to be open to you. You'll be able to see what is happening. It's an open thing. So you'll be able to see when any member makes a payment. So you'll be able to see if I've made a payment. You can also look at your own statement. You can look at the group statement, right? But to get there, let me go back a little bit and show you guys. So you come onto Stockpile, and then you search for Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. Then you click on join, request to join. Then you'll be able to join, and you'll be able to see all this, right? So at any given point, you'll always be able to see how much of a balance we have as a Stockpile. So right now we have 53,753 Rand 47 cents. In US dollars, I think that's about $3,000 or something. So that's how much we have as a Stockpile. And you can click on view, and you can look at all the information. I don't know if my information is a little different from you guys, but basically it will be able to give you the information on the Stockpile at any given time, right? So how do you make a payment? Let me see if I've learned anything at this point, right? So, because I always go back and forth with Stockpile. We also had to learn the app so that we could teach you guys. Wait, my internet is really slow. So when you're seeing this is not Stockpile. That is the problem. My internet just about an hour ago decided to just go to be the slowest internet known to man. So I'm just, sorry guys. Okay, so I'm just going to explain it as it tries to figure itself out here. I don't know why it's now doing this. So you click on more. Why is it not doing this? Okay, I'm going to try again. There we go. Why is it? Click on more. Mizo, am I doing the right thing? Like, you're going to have to walk me through this. Or do we go to banking, bank accounts? Okay, no, this is the Wealthy Ones, actually the company bank account. Mizo, hello.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm
I
here.
think
I'm
you say
trying to
pay. Okay, so you go on
pay.
pay.
You say pay.
Thank you. Like, why am I the one doing this when I'm clearly having a off tech day? So guys, you click on pay, then you
Mhm.
make payment, and you'll understand why we're telling you how to, we're showing you how to do this, because we're about to explain it. Click on the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. So here is where it becomes very different, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives you many different options. So most of us are used to going online and then just paying by credit card or check card. Stockpile asks that you rather choose the EFT option. And the reason is, if you choose the credit card or check card option, you're going to actually lose a bit of money in the process, because the fees that you pay when you choose credit card or check card are a little high. And I guess retail depositors, checkers, etc. Again, they just advised us to you that we should tell you guys to go with the EFT option. So we're just thinking there's a reason for that. It's the cheapest option, they said, and we're going to believe them, right? So then you say how much you're paying. So for example, if you decide you're going to pay 1,000 Rand, or you're going to pay 2,000 Rand, let's say. So the first 1,000 Rand, if you're paying 1,000 Rand, let's just remind you that the first 1,000 Rand that you pay is going to go towards the joining fee. The joining fee is a once-off fee. You only pay it once. You're never going to pay it again, right? Then click on next, right? And then once you've clicked on next, Stockpile is going to tell you to use the following banking details for the EFT option. Please resist the urge, if you're based in any of the 4 countries and you're on the Stockpile app, to use our banking statements, right? The
bank account.
Explain, right? That is a completely different, that's a different story. But if you're on Stockpile, use all these banking details. The most important thing here is your reference. I'm actually going to highlight it. Please use this as your reference. This number then tells Stockpile that you are going to be who you are. So everyone has their own unique reference, right? So my reference is going to be different to yours. So don't put in reference Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel, just put this number instead. If your payment doesn't show up, you can let Stockpile know or let us know, and you can just email Stockpile. I think it's info@stockpile.co.za. I'm not sure, but you can just message us, right? So once you're done with that, you make your banking details, and that's that. I thought there was an actual finish option. Am I wrong? Okay.
No, there's no finish.
You click on done. Sorry, it's showing me the screen. It's showing me a lot of buttons here that Zoom is showing that the screen share is done, right? So it should be okay. So just click on done. And then it says the given key was not present in the dictionary. I don't know what that's about, but it shouldn't be an issue, right? You should click on done. And then once you're done making the payment into Stockpile, that's it. Within about 2 to 3 days, within about 1 to 2 days, your money should be reflecting in Stockpile. If after 3 days, nothing is happening, definitely message us and let us know. And then you will be able to we'll send you an email to send to Stockpile, and then you just send them the proof of payment and they sort everything out, right? So that's pretty simple. If you have any problems or issues, please let us know. So back to the presentation. If you are based internationally, please if you are in any of these countries, unfortunately, Botswana and Zimbabwe, even though you guys are in Southern Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, if you guys are in any of, are here and you're wanting to invest, Stockpile is not in those countries yet. So you do still have to make payment through the Stockpile bank account. We apologize. So the best thing to use right now is to use wise.com. If for whatever reason your country doesn't allow you to use wise.com, you can use PayPal, or you can just use your actual country bank account to transfer directly into the company bank account here in South Africa. So because of the international aspect, and because Wealthy Money has a lot of international clients, and we started with Wealthy Money clients, we have set up a Stockpile for the Wealthy Ones. So it's simply the Wealthy Ones Pty Ltd. All this information will be in your email. We will also put it up on the website, on the Stockpile, on the wealthy-money.com/Stockpile-investments. These account details will always be on there. But if you feel the need to rewatch this video, rewatch this recording, and get all the stuff, please feel free. You can always message Wisani at wealthy-money.com. So just click file, and she will just copy and paste these banking details into your email. If you have any problems, feel free to ask, right? And that's it for us, guys. Do you have any questions? Let us know. If you have any questions, we'll happily answer them. I'm going to stop screen sharing. But we're ready for any questions. Just click unmute or lift your hands or reply in the chat. Sorry.
I'm going to take a question that Howard asked. Howard, you asked such a good question. I hope you are still here. Howard wants to know whether a person that participates in Wealthy Ones Stokvel, they become a shareholder or what? Very, very good questions. There are two major things that are happening here, Howard. So your money works only when you are participating at Stockpile. In that time, you are part of the collective and you become part of the deal that is on the table. Right now, we are doing a flipping deal with Kuro, right? And somebody that was there that had contributed 10,000 in October, their money is working at fractional ownership, and they don't put in any money right now, then their money is not going to participate in this particular deal. And right now, we are acting as angel investors. We are equity providers to developers and flipping companies that need our money, nothing else. All right. There's no ownership of anything. You own just the portion of your money that you have contributed, let's say to the 300,000, if that's what you have. And when the money comes, we run a spreadsheet where everybody that has contributed, because Stockpile keeps such a good track record, we know that, okay, so Bakolele has put in 2,000, Bangile put in 5,000. So we do the 15% and it gives us the amount that needs to be paid back to you. And how we're going to pay it, we are going to pay it already into Stockpile. There is a Stockpile where it says your Stockpile wallet or your Stockpile wallet. That's where you're going to find your money. And some people will choose to reinvest it so that if there's the next deal, student accommodation, then your money participates. So for now, we are only running the Stockpile as an equity partner to developers, to flipping companies, to student accommodation deals, or whoever needs our equity, and we get the interest, and then we share the interest with our participants. So no, the Stockpile, we are the co-founders of the Stockpile. We own the Stockpile. We just use exactly as we say in property. Other people's money is used from our platform of Wealthy Ones Stokvel. Now, Bangile talk to you about our intention of owning assets of 250 million. Whenever I say it, I get a lump in my throat. I tell you all the time. So But that's where we are going. But let me tell you the process in the back end that's happening. That's a long, long process that requires us to have all sorts of compliance officers. So for us to co-own, there is about 26 of us on the call to this evening and maybe more. For us to co-own a building together, which as FNB has made look like it's very, very easy. It isn't actually. So for us to co-own a building together, 26 of us, we have to register a trust. That's how shopping malls are built. Shopping malls are built people's money, many people's money. My pension fund is in the shopping complex, for instance, at Cradlestone Mall, and most of those are trusts. I can have my family trust, Bangile will have a family trust, Lolo Mabatwani will have a family trust. We get together and then we build a shopping mall. That's how we're going to own these properties. And when you register a trust, it takes about 8 to 10 weeks to register at the master's office. Number 2, we need to appoint trustees. Number 3, we have to have a compliance officer. There's a legal compliance of a trust. Number 4, somebody has to issue certificates. Number 5, we have to have a trust accountant. So there is a lot of other things that are complicated that need to happen for us to buy brick and mortar that we co-own as a group, especially because we don't know each other in whatever. So we are starting our platform with, let's just provide equity. It's the easiest and the most reachable thing where your money works hard and it gets you 15% interest. I hope I've answered your question, Howard.
Mizo, should I show them the spreadsheet?
Howard, yes, sure. Sorry, Val.
Yes. Thank you for the response. I think the sort of the question and the response, I think you did answer me, and I'm not sure if it is the vision that you guys sort of communicated in the podcast, because the vision was that we're trying to achieve the 250 million target of ownership of assets, whereby all the trust members become, well, my idea of or understanding was that the vision is that all the members, which the limit was up to 50, will then become, the shareholders or the co-owners of this vehicle. So I think some of us bought to that vision. What you're saying is now is it's a transactional based, whereby if I put in a certain amount and I only get rewarded for that particular transaction. So
yeah. So Howard, what you are saying is very true. Our long-term vision is to build a portfolio of 250 million. The Wealthy Ones Stokvel has been in existence for 3 months now. What we are starting with is doing equity deals. That's 1. Vision step 2 is by month 24, we will have sorted out in the back end how we are going to co-own with other people in a trust. That's why I'm explaining that whole process. So there are short-term and immediate actions that we are taking. We are getting our money to work to see how the Stockpile works, participation. Do we get your money to work, get back your capital with interest? And in the long term, that's what we are going to be doing. We are going to do that fractional ownership that you are talking about, but it needs a structure of a trust. It needs money to register a trust is about 7,500. Wealthy Ones has been in existence for 3 months. We don't even have that. We need a compliance officer. We need a trust accountant. Yeah, we need documents of trust and shareholders, because then you get issued AMA certificates. So you understand that it is a progression. That's how we are setting it up.
Okay, understood.
All right.
Yeah. That's why I spoke about the first 2 years, what we're doing, right? Remember. And then after that, I said that we will then have the trust registered, and that's when all the other exciting stuff happens. Yeah, that's when we actually own the assets. But the first 2 years, we will not be owning assets. We're just a money lender.
We are a money lender, absolutely. There's a wealthy one who asked a very good question, and she says, Ben, I want to ask if I have 400 rands or an amount that's less than 1,000 mid-month and want to add into the Stockfella app, can I do it? Absolutely. You know what I
Yes,
love
that's
about
Numisa.
Oh, okay. But you know what I love about this is what Ben was explaining right at the beginning, that for the first time, you need to feel like you can also participate in property investment. You know, the English that I really, really loathe, that I don't like that people do, is that they tell everyone that, oh, you want to get into property. Property is very capital intensive. I hate that English. It's very exclusive. It excludes other people. You are saying, oh, the one that doesn't have 100,000 can never participate in property. But here you are, you've got 1,500. You put it into Stockfella. We take your 1,500. So guys. It goes to Kurok Group, and there we are. You are doing a flip. You get to attend our webinars. You get educated about what flipping means. And your mother and father have actually done a flip. They have renovated your house. They flipped your house before, but you didn't know that that's what it's called. It's called flipping. So I like the idea that you have asked, Numisa, because at any one point, because if 400 rand, you will see it as little money and not put it in Stockfella. The next thing you're going to buy a bottle of wine with it, right? When we could have put it in Stockfella in increments of 400, you are building a portfolio and you are beginning to have your 400 Iojima. Yeah? So Mina, for me, the Stockfell is, this is an entry point for someone who doesn't have 100,000 and 50,000 and 5 million. Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is from, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Canisia.
Yeah.
It's how about adding Stockfella account as a recipient on my bank account and deposit from it? Yes, that's totally possible. I've done that, but again, most important thing, reference, right? The only thing that you need to make sure in your bank account is that where it says your reference and own reference, your own reference can be anything, but the reference for Stockfella, just make sure that you use your specific reference number.
Reference that they have sent you.
That is the most important thing, really. Ms. I wanted to ask, do you want me to show them what the spreadsheet looks like on the back end? I mean, it's going to keep growing, but then they like get a basic idea, or it's just going to be confusing.
You know, you can. I am just worried about other people's details and their money there. So
okay,
I'm a little,
okay, maybe not.
I'm a little popia sensitive about it. So
okay, let's not.
Yeah. So we dump all your information as you bring in your money, so that we can keep track when you deposited and which deal it accumulates, and then when the 15% is paid, so that you are paid at the right time. Huitimang, this is such a good question. If you want to invest every month, can you directly deposit on the banking details and you still keep the payment on Stockfella app? The reason why we don't like you have to pay it that EFT the way they want it to be done is that it eats away your money. The transaction fees that Stockfella are a bit higher than your usual savings account. So can I encourage you to please do it via Stockfella? Always choose EFT, because we have discovered that it is we have discovered that it actually eats away your money. It can take something like 70 bucks to do a transaction on Stockfella, like a bank account or any other format. Just use the EFT if you can, please, Elsie.
Okay, and then Nagmuba says, Will I get the reference number to use when depositing when I get approved? Yes,
Oh,
totally.
yes.
So as soon
totally.
as you get approved, you just follow the payment, you go to the payments little button, and then you do what I showed you, right? You decide how much you're going to deposit, and then you click, and then it will generate all the banking details for you. Your reference number is always the same, so you can do like I said I did. Like I now have like Stockpile as one of my recipients on my bank details, and then just have the reference number there all the time.
Yeah. Oh, then please do this. I think this lady is asking such an important thing.
So
Have you got
Lolo,
the link? Yeah, the link of Stockpile app, number one, and that YouTube, the education YouTube. Maybe you can just paste it on the chat.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Lolo, let me see. I don't have the link right. Actually, can I just send you the link to, you want the app itself? I don't know the Stockpile app, but I'm going to send you the Stockpile website. You can also use the website, guys. So they are, I sent it to Trifina. Sorry, Trifina. Here, everyone, that's the Stockpile link. And you were asking, you can't find it in Google Play when I search. I'm in Lesotho. I don't know, like you should be able to find it in Google Play. I don't know
Are you
what the
spelling it
problem
right?
is.
It's Stockpile with a double L-A, and it's a Stockpile with an F. Stockpile with a double L-A. So look for it that way. Gidi is asking a very good question here. What is the process to disinvest once invested? Gidi, good question. When you invest, let's say you invest with us in the Kuro deal today, right? You unfortunately can't withdraw your money before we have put it in the deal, right? And we are going to put it in the deal, and they have promised us that they are doing a 10-week refurbishment. And on the contract, we will, on the WhatsApp group, that's where we will share with you. Once the contract is signed, we'll show you where it is signed and when the date of payment is going to be. When they pay us, we're going to give ourselves 5 days so that we can deal with the admin in the back end, and then we start paying out, right? That's the only time you can back out of the deal, right? That's how you disinvest. And you can take your capital and your interest and you don't invest again. You go and take it somewhere else, absolutely fine. Some people, they leave their money in the Stockpile e-wallet and then they reinvest in the next deal. Okay, I belong to a Stockpile. Actually, I belong to Sakisizwe, and I belong to 2 deals. So one deal pays me, I leave the money in the e-wallet. Another deal pays me, I leave it in the e-wallet. And then whatever the next deal is, my money gets reinvested. So I am Hamdimo Stockpile. There are other Stockpiles that you are going to see there, but you look for ours with a purple ring. So you are not locked in. No, you are not locked in at all, right? So you can get your capital and money. It's that unfortunately, when you put your money in on the 24th of December and decide on the 31st, no, you want to buy champagne, we absolutely cannot reverse that for now because it's an administrative schlep. So we are going to invest your money and then you get it at the end of the 10 weeks that Kuro will have our deal done.
Yeah.
Your second question, what is the recourse should 15% ROI not be achieved? ROI is return on investment, people. I like simple English, ne? Return on investment. So in property networks, what I like about property networks, Gidi, it's not like your banks and these formal structures where people speak lots of English. You know, property investors and flippers and developers, they want to make money today. They give you what you ask for. Do you know that I can, if I want, this very Kuro group, when I met them in 2019, they were looking for 55,000 to finish off bathrooms in a house that they had already sold and they had just flipped. They needed 55,000. I had 30,000 at the time. I borrowed them 30,000 and I was like, how long are you taking it? They're like, you have 30,000. We'll give you 20% return. That's how desperate flippers are. Money is always making the rounds in property networks. And when I borrow, even my friends who are in property, when I borrow them, they know, 15%, my brother, I'm not even discussing anything else with you. So half of the time, I've never had an experience of where the ROI has never been made. It is not that type of thing. What happens with a flipper or a developer, they take a cut from their profit, but they pay their investors. So that's how it's going to happen. There's always going to be that house they already own. And if they don't get the rental the way they thought they it's none of our business. We are
But
getting.
I also want to interrupt that our contracts, even with Lebogang, had a line item for that. So the lawyer makes sure that there's something in there. If you are not getting the ROI, can we get a lien on the rent? Can we then go to court and make our money off of the rent? So we make allowance for that in the contract, Gidi. So yeah, even though we're saying it has never happened, the lawyer definitely is like, I don't care about has never happened. I want to make sure that you guys get put this in as a contingency clause. So we have that covered in the contract that we will make money from. We will take the money from the rental income. So before they start, as they start drawing rent, we can go to court and say, it's in the contract. You guys are making the rent, but you owe us money. So pay us from the rent.
Yeah. And the other thing that the lawyer put in there, Gidi, that we learned as we go along, guys, remember, Van has got a finance background, and I sit there and just wonder and muse at the things that they discover, they talk about. What I liked about the lawyer, he put in another exit clause. What happens if something goes wrong? What happens if something goes wrong?
Yes.
Right? There is a brick and mortar with an address. So when we sign a contract, we don't say we are borrowing Med Kuro, our 30,000, and there's nothing there. 30,000 for refurbishment of address number, what. When he sends it to us, he even sends it with a light stone. A light stone is a mechanism where you can see where the house is sitting. That's why I go on site. The video shows me on site. I need to touch and feel the house. I need to know where it is, because on our contract, our lawyer put in an exit clause. If something goes wrong, let's say Matt goes bust, he goes bankrupt. When they sell his assets, including that asset, that brick and mortar house, we are the first to get paid. So that's one of the other exit clauses. Very, very important question. Howard, I like your question. The decision-making of deciding to invest or not, or where does it lie? Will the members be part of the process of making decision? Fortunately or unfortunately for you, this is a passive investment modality for you. I'm the deal maker. I will always come and present a deal to you. And you have got the control over your money. You can say, I don't want to participate, or I want to participate and withdraw from it. So otherwise, if we are over 100, then we are going to have 100 opinions about getting into a deal. So that's how it's going to work. So we are the deal makers, will come and present it to the members. The members, really, the decision for you is to take your money out or not to take your money out. Otherwise, we have 1,000 people that we're going to have to deal with to make a decision on the deal.
Exactly. So Bakolele, you asking, is the contract already signed with Kuro for this deal, or just verbal at the moment, depending on fundraising if we make the target? The answer is no, because we don't know. We would love to make R1 million target, but if we don't make the R1 million target, then we have to sign a contract to say we're going to go in on whatever we've got. So
Yeah.
right now we already qualify for the Kuro deal because we're at 53,000 Rand, 53,000 plus, right? And they just require a buy-in of 20,000 Rand. So we already qualify for the deal, but we're going to keep fundraising and see how much money we raise. We're going to talk about it on a Stockpile. We're going to do live videos. We're going to invite people into the deal. And whatever we end up with on January 6th, 2022, that is what we're going with, right? And so then we will sign the contract for that amount.
Yeah. Awesome. I don't see any more questions, guys. I can't
Yeah.
even preempt what other questions you could have. Let me think. Yeah, I just shared that I am with the Sakisizwe Stockpile because that's where I started my journey of passive investing in a Stockpile. And they also went through a transition. Now I'm a co-owner of a student accommodation somewhere in Potchefstroom. I've never seen the place. They are running a student accommodation and I don't even like teenagers, and there they are. But my money, Jima. Send your money to the gym. So guys, go to Stockpile, download it for what it's worth.
Okay, so Lolo is asking, how does it work for those with less than 10,000 Rand in the Stockpile again, please? So Lolo, we have a clause that says 6 months and 10,000 Rand, right? I mean, you are more than welcome to withdraw your money when the money comes back in with the ROI, you can take it out. But know that at 10,000 Rand, once your money has been sitting in Stockpile, which for us is actually sitting in the deal for 6 months, and then you decide to withdraw it. We don't mind that when it comes back from Kuro, but we're saying to you that if you do withdraw it at 10,000, at less than 10,000 Rand after 6 months, you're going to be faced with fees from Stockpile. So just be aware of that. It's up to you what you do with it after 6 months.
That's it.
Yeah.
But tell your families about the Wealthy Ones Stockpile, because this is an opportunity for getting your aunt, your mom, your grandma, and young kids who are beginning to earn to participate in property investment. And what our promise is, we are going to be doing updates, webinar updates on the property, just so that people know what is going on, specifically when it is a long deal like the fractional ownership deal. They will tell you, people who have invested, that I was showing them that they were looking for water pumps. It's a developer's problem. Looking for water. Joburg water, Ekurhuleni water couldn't find where the main of the property they are developing. And this guy sent me the report and the geotechnical report, because they study the sand and the landslide and whatever. I don't care. I get an update. So you get education at the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel. You get to participate at little money, and you get high returns for your money. So
yes,
there you go.
Definitely. So Ngumisa, you're saying, would really love my daughter to start now. She's 13 years old. Can she register too? Yes, of course.
She's got a South African number, right? She's got a South African mobile number. That's it.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So she's 13 years old, and I'm just thinking maybe I will do this separately. She can do it separately, and see how she, how she can grow her own.
Yeah.
And then we're starting to listen to the podcast together. She's actually listening. So we can start doing the podcast together and see how she can do that on her own.
That is going to be amazing. And when they see, I don't know how good you are on Excel sheet. When they see it on their Excel sheet, the birthday present that they got here, 300,000, and imagine when it comes back in 10 weeks time, and they've got 300,000 with 15% on top. When they see the money grow, that's how we teach children how to think about wealth. Don't expose them to shiny things before. expose them to how they grow the money. And by the time it becomes 600 rands, she's like, I can grow my money. Actually, that's how children
Yeah.
get excited about investing. You can't expose them to a BMW when they don't know how to create the money for the BMW. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what I
Yeah.
was thinking, because now if she's got money coming.
Oh, wait, what happened? Miss, I think you're muted, or yeah, you're muted, sis. I'm asking you to unmute.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much for this, because I'm just thinking maybe she can start using her own. That's why I was asking if we can put money in. She can save, but she can spend as well when the money is starting to pile on. Or
Yeah.
she will give it to my brother, or somebody will take it and all of that. So I'm just thinking if she can put 400 rand mid-month or 200 rand, and then by the end of the month, maybe she will have that 1,000 rand. And
Yeah.
she will see, when you put it in good use. So thank you so much for this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a pleasure. So, I'm so happy that you asked that question. I mean, now we're starting to talk real generational wealth, right?
That's
Yeah.
it.
That's
Yeah.
so powerful, Numisa. I'm loving that. Like at 13, your daughter's already learning about property. She's going to be getting into the Stockpile. I mean, guys, this is what we mean by changing money stories, right?
Yeah.
And if you're wondering why Numisa has the Wealthy Money thing, she is the marketing assistant for Wealthy Money. So that's why it says Wealthy Money. So that's her Zoom account, right? But Lolo, you're saying, where do we refer these people we invite? You refer them to wealthy-money.com/Stockfile. I'm putting it on there. Or you just refer them to Stockfella and tell them to download the Stockfella app, search for Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel and join. So it's, whichever one you want to refer them to, they can really just get started on the Wealthy Ones Property Stokvel on Stockfella. They don't even have to go to the Stockfile link. But obviously, when you send them to the page, to the web page, they will get access to the recording, so they can look around on the page by themselves and watch this replay and get more information, and also then have access to the email to be able to message Wisani and ask questions, right? Yeah, so this was like, let them find the purple logo for WAPs, purple and yellow rings on Stockfella. Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Okay,
Val,
guys.
I've got one last question. So I'm here in the village. I've been talking a lot with a lot of people about the Stockpile, right?
Yeah.
So as you know that we already have Stockpile that exist. There's a friend of mine who are in part of a Stockpile already. So if they decide that, okay, we want to start investing in this Stockpile by the end of the year or every 3 months, right? And when they register to the Stockpile, now there's 5 members already. Do they need to now get in as a company, right? Is the name of a Stockpile? How does that now work? I don't know if I'm making sense.
Oh, I think I get you. So
I
you're saying
see.
there are Stockfiles in the village that want to invest in the Stockfile.
Yes. Yes.
So I think the chairperson of that Stockfile would register. Would they register the Stockfile, Mizo, or do they register as an individual, or they can register as the Stockfile and then use the number, their phone number?
They can register as a EPTY Limited, and they will get their company will get a unique number.
Yeah, and then the bank account details, though, the chairperson has to be aware that they have to put the Stockfile bank account details, because I mean, most of them in the village already have a Stockfile bank account, right?
Yes,
so they just have to put that bank account for the payout. He or she shouldn't put their own personal bank account to be paid out.
They do have a post office account.
That
so
should
I
work
can read.
too, I think.
That should work, right? Or must I ask them to? Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Well, I can give that feedback back to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Or
going to be
else,
exciting for them.
if they have any problems, maybe they can talk to us and we'll talk to Stockfella. We'll introduce them to Stockfella, and then
Yeah.
like Stockfella can help them set up things. They're really, really good. They get on the phone with you and they walk you through everything. So they
Fantastic.
figure that out with them.
Yeah.
Oh, this is exciting. So exciting.
It is. They've got time for us, Shem. They get
Yeah.
onto WhatsApp. They really, really have understood
Yeah.
black wealth, how you build it.
Yes.
You have to simplify matters. It has to be accessible. Nabantu baselalini,
Yes.
So they
Yeah.
are very, very good. They take you by the hand. They will allocate someone who will take care of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great news. That's great news. Because I'm talking about 5 members who only put 300 rand, and they
Oh.
just want to, they're getting paid so less than the minimum wage. But also when I explain to them how it
Wow.
works, they're like, okay, oh, this will actually be better than buying groceries at the end of the year.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Because Loa Sisi, when they told her, I aunamagi, you can never buy properties when she needs to show them that they can participate in high interest and property investment deals and start making a little bit more money. And that's how they build their wealth, and they keep it in the e-wallet and they keep reinvesting. That's how, and they can tell people about the deals that they have made. Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
Oh,
Gosh, I'm so
Wow, that
thank
excited,
is
you.
guys.
amazing.
I am so stoked by this. And Misa, thank you for bringing it to the table. We'd love
Yeah.
to have a group like that. We can't wait to have people like that on the podcast so that one day they can show how they grew 300 times 5 into money that is sizable.
Yes.
Yo, I'm so
I
happy.
yeah, Nongubo, Bakolele, anyone? Have you got any questions? Otherwise, we're gonna call it a night. We've kept you here. We had said 22 hours. We are 17 minutes over. Any
Yeah.
more questions? Are we gonna see you on Stockfella maybe?
I think we're going to see them on Stockfella. I think this
so.
is great. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you taking your evening out to come and spend this evening with us, learn about this vision, hold the vision for us. I mean, we can officially say that as of now, we've raised, if we're counting everything, we've raised like 384,000 Rand plus. So it's going to keep growing. The Stockpile is definitely going to be something that's growing. And our vision is that the podcast, as the podcast has been growing and doing so well, we use it as a vehicle to also grow the Stockpile and start sharing start educating people, and that you guys will learn from this and go eventually bring in your families or go start your own things with your families around stockpiles and property stockpiles and trust and understanding how to protect yourselves legally and grow wealth. So thank you so much for showing up. We can't wait to have you as part of this incredible vision. We're so excited.
Awesome. Thank you, then.
Thank you, Mizo.
You survived after all.
Hey, I did what you said. When you were busy presenting, I was talking to my people. My laptop is now, it got fine. Mizo said, Van, talk to your ancestors, talk to your people. I literally did that because I was like at 16% battery by the time I finished my presentation. I was like, maybe Mizo's right. Look at me, I'm thriving. I'm like, clearly I have some spiritual drama going with tech and the Stockpile.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kanisia. Good to see you, man. I don't see you on Facebook anymore.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Actually, I'm also happy to see you live. It seems as if we are together in my house. Thank you so much, baby.
See you. Yes. Sir.
And it would behind the scenes.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. And I hope we are unpacking the information in a way that is audible. You know, sometimes information is there, but you can't hear what people are saying. ba bua di-ROI. Ai, guys.
Exactly, I'm understanding. Maybe it's because of accent as well. I'm really understanding now. I'm learning
I'm
a lot.
so glad.
Oh, this
I'm
makes me so
so
happy
glad.
to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We will see you in emails. Join the WhatsApp group. We'll definitely see you. And in a few more hours, I should post this. Otherwise, definitely by tomorrow, the replay will be in your inbox.
Sure.
Good night.
Thank you
Good night.